My earliest memory learning about race was probably, I would say, when I was around 7 or 8, and I went to a pretty much all-black church when I was younger, and I went to basically all-white school, and so it was just, you know, kind of like, just the cultures were so different. I myself, my mother is Chilean, so I'm not mixed black and white. My mom is Latina, but I never really knew too much about my Hispanic side, so, or I knew a lot about it, but just I didn't have that many Hispanic friends, so I wouldn't say that necessarily affected me a lot, but I would say what really affected me was just the fact that I was mixed, period, and especially from the peers in my church. I was always like, if I didn't know a joke or if I didn't know what somebody was talking about, it was automatically because I was mixed and because I was, and everybody, my mom looks white because she has like Italian blood. She's mostly Italian blood, but so everybody thought I was mixed with white and black. I was like, oh, she doesn't know, whatever. That was pretty much my earliest memory, probably like around when I was 7 or 8 is when I started noticing that. And at school, where I was like, you know, chubby kid, but, you know, definitely not skinny, but not fat or anything when I was chubby. And most of the white girls that I went to school with, thin, super skinny. And I think that I equated white with skinniness, and then I was, you know, not white, and I was chubby, and I always thought, you know, the white girls like the pretty girls and stuff. This is pretty much my earliest kind of recollection of, I just felt like I didn't fit in with the white kids, I didn't quite fit in with the black kids, didn't know any Hispanic or Latino kids, so, you know, that was my earliest recollection of me realizing my race. My earliest memories of race were probably when I was 3 and 4. I grew up in a multiracial family, and so my brother has a different skin tone than I do, and my mom's boyfriends had different skin tones, and she would constantly be explaining to people, my kids are mixed, and I guess I didn't really understand why she always had to say that, but that's, I guess, when I figured out that it wasn't normal to be biracial, but I think that's probably my first inclination that race was a factor.
I think my earliest memory about race would be like when my mom taught me about like African American history. Like she mainly taught me about African American history. She really didn't talk too much about like the other race, like on the other side, like the Indian. She really didn't discuss a whole bunch about that. So that's my earliest memory. It's just African American history.
My earliest memory about race would have to be in elementary school. I noticed that a lot of the kids that attended my school were from very, you know, different backgrounds and races, but I never really thought about it. I just noticed that everyone looked different.
My earliest remembrance of race was when I was probably in elementary school. All the kids that I was around were white. We were the only black family in the neighborhood. My mom being white, my dad being black. And the only other black person I would see normally would be my brother. And so my mom tells me that for Christmas one year I asked for blonde hair. And she said she felt really bad because she couldn't give it to me. And I felt different than all the rest of the kids because they were all white, blonde, brown hair, blue eyes. But I was a black girl living in a white neighborhood, so it was different at the time, but I didn't pay too much attention to it until I started getting older.
I think my first encounter with race was in 3-year-old preschool, so it was very early, and we were learning colors. And the teacher said black, and then said like my father. But my father's not black; he's brown. He's Mexican. So that was my first encounter with race. It got me thinking. Okay, well now there's different skin colors, and let's say I didn't go back to that preschool. My white grandmother went in and basically let them have it, and I never went back there. So 3-year-old first encounter with race.
Actually, one of the first things I remember when I was little is that I was on the playground with these girls, and I don't remember what we were arguing about, but at one point I was like, she did like this thing when you were little, you did, I forget what it was, but it was something along the lines like, you can clap your hands and stomp your feet, but this black girl can't be beat. And I remember saying, well, I'm black too. And she's like, well, no, you're not. And I don't know, plus like growing up, I always got the good hair thing. And I don't know, she's light skinned, which I personally always didn't like, but that happens. Yeah, other than that, I don't know, I guess in 7th grade too, one time I got that I was too white because I liked the Backstreet Boys. And I remember after that, I had this little keychain on my backpack of the Backstreet Boys, so I took that off. And then I started getting school lunch because I thought that would make her like me more, so I don't know.
Probably my earliest memory about learning about race, I guess, would be from my dad. He's black, and he, I don't know, basically would try to teach us black history. My brothers and I just like do stuff like the History Channel and stuff like that, do books we had at home. Yeah, in terms of the earliest, I can remember that probably bit.
My family, when I was younger, my family didn't really discuss race with me and my brother, so one sibling. And I wouldn't say that the topic was avoided in any way. I wouldn't say that. But I would say that it just wasn't an important thing for us really to discuss. And pretty much the times when we really started discussing it was more when, if anything in particular had happened with me and my brother. And generally, I don't really think my brother really ever thought about race too much. He was always more sociable than me, I would say, and had lots of different friends in different groups. But I would say that I myself, if I ever had some type of incident at school or at church with any friends, and I would speak to my parents, they were always open to speak with me about it. But I never felt shut out from my family, from either side of my family. I always felt accepted, I always felt loved. I think that one of the people that I always did kind of feel a little bit shut out was my mother from certain members of my dad's family, because she was not black and she did look white, even though she's not culturally, she's not from this country. She's a Chilean person from Chile, obviously. But I think that some members of my dad's family, I always kind of perceived her as an outsider. But I think me and my brother were considered by my family to be black.
My grandparents and my entire extended family on my mom's side live in Georgia, and my mom, my brother, and I grew up in Minneapolis. And my mom was always angry around holiday times and birthday times because my grandparents never sent us gifts, but they sent the rest of the grandkids gifts, and my mom was certain that it's because we were mixed, and that because my mom had run away at 17 with a black man. And she always said that, you know, we've been treated differently because we were mixed, and that they've never accepted us. And so we were always kind of aware. And I don't think my brother and I ever really cared that we did not get gifts from our grandparents, because we lived so far away from them and did not grow up with them. But our mom made such an issue out of it that we began to feel like it was a really big deal and a really big issue of discontent within our family. So in that respect, we were treated differently.
Probably within our family, race is, I don't know, it's not taboo at all, really. So I don't know, I guess race is explicitly spoke about a lot. especially in terms of being biracial. There's a lot of interracial couples, and I don't know, I guess I have a lot of biracial relatives. So it pretty much, as far back as I can remember, we spoke about race.
Race was dealt with all the time. My mom taught me at a young age that because I was black, I was going to be dealing with different situations than a white person. She taught me from a young age that you may get pulled over just because you are black, and that if you're speeding and the car next to you is speeding but they're white, he's going to pull you over just because you're black. Or that if I'm dealing in a situation, they might have more prejudice against me because of the fact that I was black. And I was taught that at elementary school. So I mean, I assume my brother was taught the same way. But other than that, she just taught me the rules of life, and basically that as much as society says there's no racial issues and no racism, there is, and that there always will be.
The only thing that I've ever have been made fun of in my family about was the way I talk. When I go to Hawaii, my family there makes fun of the way I talk because I don't talk like they talk over there. I speak more proper English than they do, but nothing other